in 3, 2, and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Goose Chasing, where, let me remind you, this podcast is not about goose chasing at all, or chasing geese, or really anything to do with geese in general. See, we got some messages over the weekend, or over last weekend, saying, hey, we've been listening to your podcast about chasing geese. And I'm like, well, then you're not listening to the podcast, my friend, because we've never goose hunted a day in our life. So I'm not sure what you're listening to, but it ain't goose chasing. See, let's travel back through the history books of TAGNBRAG for a little bit. Goose chasing is a term, or goose chase is a term that was used back in the day while we were young lads growing up in this hunting world. We pretty consistently went on a good old goose chase. And by that, I mean, and we mean that basically somebody shot a deer, we started tracking, it wasn't fatally hit, we started tracking more, we bumped it, now we're on a goose chase. That's it. And those stories that Dean and I would share, while whether we were on the phone together, driving in the truck, up at camp, whatever, like some of those goose chasing stories that we would share were funny. I mean, were entertaining. It would make us laugh. It would make us go, what the heck were we doing? What the heck were we thinking? It would make us look back and realize why we are so obsessed with this sport of hunting, and specifically bow hunting, and what got us so hooked to begin with. So when we came up with a name for our podcast, I mean, this was originally, and it is just to share knowledge. It's to share stories, and basically how we came up and what got us hooked on all this. And those goose chases got us hooked. They got us hooked, no doubt. So just for clarification, goose chasing is not at all about chasing the North American Canadian goose. In fact, I once told a story on this podcast about cooking goose meat and the fact that it is really, really good when you stick it in a pot, crock pot, with vegetables, maybe some chicken broth or beef broth to kind of soften it up and tender it up. You let that thing roast all day long, 6 to 8 hours all day long. You let that goose meat roast. And as soon as it's done, you take it out of that crock pot, you throw it in the garbage, and you make yourself a ham sandwich. Because goose meat fucking sucks. Anyway, that's just my little intro on goose chasing. Like I said, goose chasing is just a loose term that we use on the hunting adventures that we've been on and that we gain year to year. We're on a goose chase, baby. Life, if you think about it, is a goose chase. It's a goose chase. We're goose chasing every damn day. We're goose chasing some of that ass. We're goose chasing groceries. Gotta go to the grocery store, going goose chasing. They don't have bread. They don't have eggs are $75 a dozen. Milk, spoiled. I'm goose chasing. Going out to dinner, don't know where to go. You ask your honey, where should we go? She says, I don't care. She says, where do you want to go? I don't care. You're goose chasing now. You're on a goose chase on where you're going to dinner. You're goose chasing. In work, you know, you got a deadline. Got to get this project done by noon tomorrow. The TPS reports aren't done. Mr. Hollandsworth, he's going to be pissed at me. Well, you're goose chasing, baby. You're on that grind. You're goose chasing. It's part of life. So Really, this is a lifestyle podcast more than anything, but it has nothing to do with chasing the Canadian goose for whatever it's worth. So, now that we cleared that up, we can get down to the business. Guys, scrape week is in full session, and my gosh, is the hunting good right now. It's good. I mean, I was in the woods yesterday. Meanwhile, today, happy November, people. Happy November 1st. Sweet November is here. It's the best month of the year for the whitetail hunter. It's the best month of the year. It's the best time of the year. We are smack dab in the middle of the best time of year, the time that we wait for all year long. This is the time that we covet. This is the dates that we circle on the calendar are, within a week or so of right now, of November 1st. But we did officially turn the page to Sweet November. And I'm pretty pumped about it. I'm pumped and I'm a little bummed. I wanted to shoot a buck in October. I've been wanting to shoot a buck in October for the last couple years. Have not been able to get that done. But have had a couple really good hunts the last week or so during scrape week. Dino passed up a really nice buck in Ohio. We think he's a 3-year-old, heavy horned, but first hunt in Ohio, he hung an XOP, got in the stand, and this was the first deer he saw. I mean, the deer came into 15 yards, chasing a doe, bumping her around. And once again, I mean, a really nice deer for most, but with a long season in Ohio, Dino obviously living in Ohio, it just wasn't the right one. But pretty awesome hunt. Uncle Jay had a couple awesome hunts. He was behind his house in Tennessee. He, I think he said the one morning he saw like 7 bucks, and they were all eventually got to a doe's trail. So she was clearly hot. He's had a couple other hunts on different pieces of property where he's seen shooters on their feet, lurking, bumping around, making scrapes, borderline shooters. He's seen a lot of bucks over the past week, to be honest, down here in Tennessee. The weather finally cooled down. We had a cold front push through Sunday to Monday. It rained all day Monday. And yesterday I actually went up to Uncle Jay's neck of the woods and hunted with him and had an awesome, awesome morning. I mean, I saw 11 deer. We did a little bit of an extended sit, ended up sitting till a little after noon, and the deer were moving literally from the moment I got in there until, I don't know, an hour or so before I got out. While I'm sitting in there, I'm looking at some of our other trail cameras elsewhere, and there's deer and bucks making scrapes and moving around on camera in the day. In the daylight, a lot of the buck movement that I saw and that was on trail camera was between like 9 and 11. So I don't know what that does for your loins or anything, or what that does to change your hunting plans at all, but something to think about. I do believe that this time of year, now that we're getting into November, those mid-morning sits are awesome. And I won't shy away from, sleep until 7, 8 o'clock, getting a decent night's sleep so that I can feel good and that I can have energy and mental strength and stuff like that to sit in the stand for 6, 8, 10 hours a day. But I don't have any qualms about waking up at 7:30, 8 o'clock, getting a little breakfast, shower, in the stand by 9 or 9:30 and sitting it out for the rest of the day. I've seen some of my biggest bucks in the woods that I've ever seen doing that. So I mean, yeah, once again, I don't know what that does for you, but this time of year, it's just the tree stand time. Like, it's not that tactics go out the window, because they certainly don't. The code blue scents, those are still going to work right now, especially if you got a cruising buck. A lot of the bucks that I saw yesterday were nose to the ground and cruising. I didn't really see any stopping, making scrapes. They were literally like, please let me find a scent that I like, that's fresh, that smells good, that I can follow, and let me find it. So if you lay a scent trail, or if you have a scent drag and you lay down some extra scent going in and out of your stand, or maybe you go out in front of your stand and do a little loop, whatever, that's going to be extremely effective right now. Because as one of those, what do you think they're looking for? That buck's cruising through, nose to the ground. He's looking for that scent. He's looking for that smell that tells him, this is it. It's my time. She's ready. She's ready, and I'm horny. That's what he's looking for. So if he's running through the woods, nose to the ground, and all of a sudden you got that code blue laid down, that asterisk, that smell that says, honey, I'm ready, come serenade my soul in the bedding area. If you lay that down and that buck comes running through, all of a sudden he crosses that track and he's like, I think I got a boner. I think that my whistle stick just got a little firm. And he's puts his nose to the ground and he follows that scent trail right to your stand. And guess who's in it? You are, my friend. You're in it. You're in it to win it. And now all you got to do is pull that bow back and make that shot, baby. You got to stop that ticker from, doing 180 beats per minute. You got to slow that thing down a little bit, and you got to make that shot. But you got that opportunity because you laid down that scent trail. And my goodness, it smelled good. So, yeah, like I said, the tactics don't go out the window. That code blue scent is money right now. I mean, I'll be in the stand. I'm not going to lie. I'll be in the stand, and I'm just going to every once in a while, I'm going to give that thing a little squirt, little Hershey squirt, and let that eustress smell tinkle all through the air, downwind style. And all of a sudden, he's sitting in that bedding area. He crosses your tracks coming in, and he's like, is that what do I smell what I think oh, God, yeah, I got to get up. I got to get up. My loins are burning, baby. So, lay it down. Lay that code blue down. But getting back to it, your best tactic right now is the time that you can spend in a tree. Because there's no hours of operation anymore. The hours of operation are all day, every day, all night, every night. I mean, think about it. We've talked about it on the podcast before. They only get like a month to bone. They're doing it every second of every day that they can. Why do you think the Bucks lose so much weight during the rut? You would too if that was, shit, that's like one of the only things that's on my mind like a lot, but you know what I mean? I mean, think about if that was like you had a month. You had a month to get it done for the year. Get your yayas out for the year during this month. You ain't going to stop. You ain't going to eat. You ain't going to drink. Your body, you're going to look like a skeleton when that rut is over with. I promise you. So there's no time clock anymore. There's no morning or evening hunts. There's just go hunt when you have the chance. If the only chance you have that day is from 10 to 1 or 10 to 2, go. That might be the best time. Literally, that might be the best time. So the tree stand time that you've got and that you can spend is going to be your most valuable right now. And yeah, I can't wait to spend it. I mean, we're getting ready, packing up today, leaving in the morning to head up to Ohio and New York for Rut Week. So Scrape Week is coming to an end, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit here. But Rut Week is kind of that coveted time that Dean, my dad, Uncle Jay, we all hunker down in camp. I mean, you guys know who have been following along with with us for a while now, this is kind of the most coveted week of the year. You know, we're at our old stomping grounds. We're at what we call home of the hunting woods up in western New York. Is it the most coveted place to be during that first week or so of November? No. Is it the biggest buck area, timber, state in the world? No. I mean, it's top 5 on one of the worst big buck states to hunt year after year. But you boys have been pretty consistent up there lately. And, I mean, a lot of that attributes to the work that we put in, and especially that Dean puts into the property to manage the deer, manage the habitat, manage the land in order to make it a perfect whitetail mecca, in order to make it an area where these deer just want to be. And for whatever reason, the DNA of our property up there is that we see a majority of the buck activity during this time. During October, November, all of a sudden we'll get new bucks rolling in constantly. I mean, we'll get bucks that we've seen year to year, but they just come back constantly, and we don't typically see them in the summertime. I mean, sometimes it's so frustrating doing the work in the summertime because you got trail cameras out there and it's like, where the hell are these bucks? But they always come back. We hold a lot of doe on our property, so naturally this time of year, they're going to know that. The does don't typically shift as much, but what we have provided is a lot of cover near food. So if a doe's got two youngins and she's getting ready to breed, she's going to kick them youngins to the curb. Well, the youngins don't have to go very far. You'll literally see them out in the food plot all hours of daylight. They'll just be out there munching and eating. And mama might be getting chased, but she might actually not be that far. She may just be hunkered down in the cover, waiting to breed or getting bred at that moment. So our property DNA is just made up that way, and whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, I mean, I personally think that it's good that way because you can hunt them now. In the summertime when you're getting all these pictures of velvet bucks, or you want to be getting all these pictures of velvet bucks, I mean, it's just eye candy at that point. You can't hunt those deer, so it doesn't really matter. And you're getting a bachelor group of 3 or 4 or 5 good bucks on camera. Well, what do you think's going to happen during the fall? They can't all stay in that area. They may pass by, but they can't sanction and use that as their rut core. They can't all do that. It's not feasible. There's not enough doe, and they know that. There's a pecking order. They established that. Obviously, we've talked about that with the scrapes and stuff. Like, these deer, they establish that dominance and that, that role in that specific area, and where their rut core is going to be and where their home core is once they need to replenish and get food again. So I'm looking forward to it. The weather's looking like it's going to pan out. It's highs in the 40s, lows in the 30s most of the week. There is a little bit of rain and stuff like that, but, this time of year, it doesn't matter a whole lot. I mean, filming-wise, it gets a little bit tough, to bring camera equipment in the woods and stuff if it's raining. We do have blind setups that are set up for, this scenario or for this opportunity to get under cover with the camera equipment and still be in the woods and stuff. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to it. We got a lot of deer on camera up there. I know that we're one hot doe away from another buck or two showing up. So it's good, and the hunting's good up there. I mean, if you guys have been following along with Scrape Week, you know that Pops. My dad shot a buck up in New York on the 27th, last Friday. I think it was the third or fourth day of Scrape Week. And he was up there by himself. I mean, he's self-filming. I give him credit. He's adopted all of this filming stuff and, more or less does it for us, which is cool. But he's all into it now too. He's camera first. It's document the moment first, and if the shot comes, if it's that time, if it's your time, God bless. If not, the moment, the experience, the memory, all of that is documented, which I respect it. So he gets up into one of his favorite stands. It's literally right behind camp. We've got a beautiful, beautiful white gold food plot. Turnips are just coming up like crazy in this plot, and it's kind of weird because like when the leaves fall, like literally you could see the house, and it's far, probably 300 yards or whatever, but you could see the house from the stand. You could see camp from the stand. You could see the pond behind camp from the stand. But it is secluded enough, and it kind of borders some thick hemlocks enough to where the deer travel through there. There's a couple scrapes right on the plot, and the deer will travel through there, and they'll daylight. I mean, Dean, a couple years ago, saw a buck that we called Swoops back there with Neil, the buck he ended up shooting the year after that. Broad daylight. They were bumping does around the plot. I've shot a buck back there. I think the first deer that we ever shot off of camp property. Dean and I sat back there, sat all day, didn't see a damn thing. 3 o'clock rolls around, hear leaves crunching, and all of a sudden there's a mystery 8-point literally right in our lap. Right in our lap, made a perfect shot. He didn't go 40 yards and done. Well, my dad he loves this stand back there. He loves it because it's easy walk from camp. He loves it because of the scenery. It's a comfortable stand. The filming setup is about as perfect as you could get. So for self-filming, whenever you can kind of back yourself up to a wall, so to speak, where you're not going to have a lot of movement to your backside and a lot of movements in front of you, it makes it, I don't want to say easier because self-filming is not easy by any means, but it makes it a lot more doable because you can focus your attention on what is in front of you. Now, is it foolproof? No. No, this stand is backed up into hemlocks, and certainly deer come out from under the hemlocks at times, but it does give you a wide range in front of you where, you've got a full field of view. You're looking at that. You're literally sitting right on the food plot. You're kind of tucked into these pines to where your back is all pine. It's all hemlock. And so when the deer look up into this tree, bearing any movement, they just see branches, brown, camo. I mean, you blend in very well. So it makes that self-filming even easier because you can get away with a little bit more movement that way. But then the second angles of the hunt, can be set up over your shoulder to basically capture the shot, the kill shot on film as well. And that's exactly what happened. My dad was going in there to shoot a doe. He wanted to get a deer under his belt for the year. He wanted to put some meat in the freezer. You can practice and practice and practice as much as you want with your bow. And that's certainly all fine and good, but there's nothing that replicates like that moment of truth. There's nothing that replicates when a deer, a live animal, is in front of you and you have to execute a good shot. There's just not. So, part of filling the freezer and shooting a doe is doing just that, is going through that motion so that when a buck does come out, you've got the stamina per se, you've got the mental strength and capacity to calm yourself down and make a good shot. So that was his goal. He went back there. I mean, he's talking to the camera all the way back there, and that's what he's talking about. That's what he's going to do. And probably a half hour, 45 minutes before dark, all of a sudden, mom and 2 babies start coming, and they're feeding from behind the pond. They're working their way in. They're getting to like 30 yards, whatever, and they literally go on red alert. They go on red alert. They're looking across the plot into the woods like something is coming. They can hear something coming. Something is coming. And They're looking. My dad's got the second angle going, and it's pretty funny because he's watching them just kind of preparing for the shot. And I don't know in his mind that it registered right away that, like, they're on red alert. They're looking for something. Something else is coming. So in the second angle, you guys got to watch this hunt. It's launching this afternoon on our YouTube channel, and it's awesome. It's awesome. For my dad being 61 years old, self-filming, 3 different angles, made a perfect shot. It's everything that you could ask for and more. So anyway, over his left shoulder, he's got a GoPro running, and it's literally catching all this. You can see the does coming in on the far right of the screen, and you could kind of hear the leaves rustling a little bit. And that's getting louder and louder and louder, and he's so keened in on the doe, like he's so keened in on that kill that I don't know that it was even registering, but over his shoulder you can literally see this buck break the wood line and walk out into the middle of this plot and almost like face off the does. And they're still, 30 yards apart across the plot, but he's still focused on the doe, like locked in on the doe. So this buck walks probably 10 yards out into the plot, and he just stops, and he's standing there broadside looking at the doe. He's got no clue that my dad's there. The doe have no clue that my dad's there. They're both so focused on each other, they're oblivious to anything else going on. Well, all of a sudden, he kind of like peeks over, and you can see his whole mannerisms change in the second angle. He grabs his bow real quick. He's like rustling around. Doesn't even range him because, the deer, you could tell the deer was, 25 yards or something. And yanks her back, settles that pin, and lets one rip. And just literally deflates both lungs. Just gone. See you later. That deer was dead on his feet. As soon as that arrow zipped through him, he went like 60 yards and crashed right off camera. And, obviously, Dad started going nuts. Your emotions take over in that moment, especially, it always happens. This always happens when you're going in, and Uncle Jay always says it, when you least expect it, expect it. But when you're going in, you tell yourself, yeah, I'm going to go shoot a doe tonight. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fill the freezer, going to get one under the belt. All of a sudden, he steps out. Like, it's almost like that's the mentality that you should go in on. If you're in a dry spell, or if you're, haven't seen bucks in a while, whatever, just tell yourself that you're going on a doe hunt. Just go in there with the expectations of shooting a doe, and there's a good probability that a buck's going to show, just because that's your mentality. So the emotions really kicked in after the fact, because obviously, like I said, he's going in for a doe hunt. All of a sudden, he looks over, and this buck is just levitating in the middle of the food plot. No idea how he got there, where he came from, any of that. So that was pretty cool. And Dean actually had a basketball game in Ohio, so he was coming up later that night anyway. So he played basketball, wanted my dad to wait for a recovery. So they went in and recovered the thing together, which was awesome. The footage is great. We're so pumped to bring you the story. And my dad's got one under the belt before we go into rut week. Nothing more that we could have asked for going into rut week. That week is such a blast. But we always want to be celebrating a deer, and for a while, for 5-6 years of rut week, we didn't shoot anything. We didn't shoot a deer. There was a couple rut weeks where we didn't even see that many bucks. And this is back, like I said, this is dating 8-10 years. But regardless, when you're trying to do this for a living, or when you're trying to do this and you've got, partners and stuff that are involved, and you're not even killing deer, that makes it tough. So now, the past couple years, like last year we got Cartman, we got Jamario Jr. The year before that we got Neil, and we got Gary Clark Jr. The year before that, I'm trying to think of who shot who shot bucks. But anyway, for the past like 4 years, we've gotten at least one buck during rut week, which is awesome because it's always good to have something on the pole hanging to celebrate over. You know, gets the camaraderie together even more, even though that's, you know, really the point of the rut week anyway. But it's an awesome experience to be in camp and be able to celebrate that harvest with everybody because we're all over the place throughout the year and even throughout the hunting season. So, you know, Uncle Jay shot a buck earlier in the year by himself. You know, up in North Dakota, obviously, Dean and I are together, but like being up in camp all together, the four of us, and being able to celebrate that harvest is pretty awesome. So we already got one to celebrate. Looking forward to that. And hopefully we can knock down a couple more, but I'm really looking forward to packing the truck, hopefully getting a couple Ohio hunts in over the next couple days, and then getting up to camp on Friday and letting her rip for a week. It's should be good. The rut is here. I mean, you know, it's so hard because it's here, and by, you know, the 21st, 22nd, 23rd of November, you're going to be like, oh, man, like it's slipping through. You know, you're feeling the end of it. If you still got a tag in your pocket, you're going to be like, hey, I'm feeling the end of this, whatever. And so I just encourage you, you know, any time that you get to get out in the woods this time of year, just do it. Do it with grace. Do it with gratitude. Love every minute of it. There's going to be sits where you're not going to see a deer, and it's going to be November 4th, and you're sitting there in one of your best spots, and you don't see a deer. Well, the next day, the next hour, the next minute, all of a sudden, shit could blow up, and you could be in a completely different ballgame. So just stay patient throughout this time of year. Just stay in the moment. Stay in the hunt. Hunt for you. There's a lot of shit flying around social media, bucks getting posted, big ones, small ones, whatever. Congratulate the people that are shooting them. And don't compare yourself to them. Why? Like, why do that to yourself? Why make it a challenge that's not just about you and the deer, but now you got to one-up Ronnie because he shot a friggin' 14 point, you know, out of his backyard. And he posted it on Instagram, and you want that photo, you want that 15 pointer. Why do you gotta one up Ronnie? Why can't the big 8 pointer be good enough? Why can't the 6 pointer be good enough? If it's your first buck, why can't any buck be good enough? It can, and it is. If you put your hard work and time into this stuff, and you go out there, and there's a buck that comes in that fires you up, and your ticker is thumping at 180 beats a minute, and you're coming unglued and out of your skin, and you shoot that thing, and you make a good shot, and that thing goes down, and you got not only meat for the freezer, but you got a great memory. You notched one under the belt with your bow. Be happy for that. Celebrate that to the fullest. There's nothing better than that. Don't make excuses. Oh, this was a management buck. Fuck that. Fuck manage what? What are you managing? That deer could have blown up into something huge the next year. Just say this was a buck that I wanted to shoot. He's old. He's mature. He doesn't have a huge rack. Maybe I wish it was a little bit bigger, but I'm damn happy with him. Just be proud. Be proud to be a bow hunter. Be proud to be a hunter in general. Whether you get something or not, you are part of an elite group of providers, of hard workers, of people that are dedicated, passionate, patient human beings. Just be grateful for that. Own it. Fuck all that other bullshit. But yeah, sweet November's here. Sweet November. It's hard to believe, man. This year's flying by. The hunting season is flying by. It feels like we just literally kicked things off in North Dakota at the beginning of September, and we're 2 months into the season right now. That's nuts. Like, Does that not blow anybody else's mind? Why is time flying so fast? That's why you got to sit in that stand, baby. You got to marinate in there. You got to pack a sangy. Stay a while. Why are you getting out? Why? This is the time you get. You're not going to be pulling all day sits in January or December. No, this is the time. This is the unpredictable time of the rut that we all wait for, that we don't know what could run over the hill, chasing a doe at any moment, at any second, and completely change the course of our season. Sit it out. I love all-day sits. I fucking love all-day sits. The mental game that you have to play with yourself to get through an all-day sit is awesome. It's awesome. Like, you've got to be so mentally strong to sit on a 3x3 foot piece of metal, like 15 to 20 feet in the air all day. All day. You literally watch that sun come up in the east and all of a sudden it sets in the west like 11 hours later, and you've been standing on the same piece of metal that whole time. That's mental strength right there. And that, like, at the end of that, if I've shot something or not, at the end of an all-day sit, I'm like, fuck yeah, baby. Fuck yeah. I did it. I did it. And I now know that at this specific location, if I haven't shot something, I now know that at this specific location today, nothing ran through here, nothing cruised through, nothing walked through here without me seeing, hearing, or encountering it. And that's a win for me. Call me crazy, but that's a win. So I love it. I love packing sangies. I love knowing that, motherfucker, you ain't getting by me today. You ain't getting by me without me seeing you. You ain't getting by me without me giving you a meh or a meow. Meow. You're not getting by me without me tossing a call at yo ass. And I'm going to see you because the leaves are crunchy, so I'm going to hear you before I see you, so I'm going to be ready for you when you come through. That's what an all-day sit does for me. It makes me fired up. I love it. I love it. Like last year when I shot Cartman, I was going in for an all-day sit. Going in, 3 sangies packed, 9 o'clock rolls around, buck down. And honestly, slightly anticlimactic. There was a serious climax in that whole hunt, but then when it was done, it's 9:30, and I'm like, fucking 9:30. It's 9:30. What am I going to do now? I mean, caress the bone a little bit. I got it. He's sitting right there, and that's sick. But that all-day sit just fuels me, man. It fuels me. I love it. I love it. Oh, gosh. All-day sits, baby. Pack a sangy. My favorite, I think we talked about this, the cutlet sangy being my favorite snack. The second favorite snack is the peanut butter and jelly with Aunt Lynn's and Nana's jam. And I like bringing like a Propel in there with me, something cold, rejuvenate, rehydrate. You got to bring like as much as you want to bring coffee, hot chocolate to keep you warm in a thermos. That's great. You've got to stay hydrated. Staying hydrated is going to keep you warm. That's it. You need energy with a little food. You need hydration with a little water, Propel, Gatorade, whatever your choice is. But you got to stay hydrated to stay warm. So think about that. Put a little sangy in your satchel. Put a little water or Propel in there along with your hot cocoa or your coffee if you so desire, and just sit it out. pack it in for the day. Your boy's with you. I'll be there with you in spirit. I'll be there with you in another state, in another stand, and we'll be there together, you know? We'll be enjoying that moment together. But when it does come to fruition, when that buck does run over that hill at like noon 30 on a Wednesday, when you've been in there scratching your ass for 6.5 hours, and he comes busting over the hill, and you arrow that sucker and watch him go down, there's no better feeling, especially when you're on that all day sitting. Because you know it's you versus him, and you got him. You did it. You did it. You could have been at lunch. You could have been taking a nap at camp. You could have been making hot cakes. You could have been getting ass. I don't know what you were doing, but you could have been doing something else, but you were there. And you got it done. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, it's November. God bless. Good hunting. God bless being a bow hunter. God bless the rut. God bless sweet November. It is November 1st today. If anything else, I want you to thoroughly enjoy this month of November. We are going to be in camp in a couple days. We are finishing out scrape week. Like I said, my dad's hunt goes live this evening on... Sorry. My dad's hunt goes live this evening on our YouTube channel, so if you don't already, subscribe, because we got more kills coming. We got more encounters coming. The content is flying off the shelves, people. It's crazy. So try and keep up. For now, go get in the stand, pack a sangy. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you guys listening every single week. This is Goose Chasing. Go chase it. Go chase it. We'll see you back here Wednesday. Probably from a Camp Cutlet chair somewhere. I'm looking forward to that. Happy hunting, people. God bless.